I thought I knew everything about my husband Marcus and his twin brother David. After 7 years of marriage, one shocking decision would change everything I believed about love, family, and trust. My name is Sarah, and I've been married to Marcus for 7 years. We've had our ups and downs, but I always believed our love was strong enough to handle anything. Marcus and his twin brother David are as different as night and day. Marcus is quiet and thoughtful, while David is loud and always looking for the next big opportunity. Despite their differences, they've always been close. Money has been tight for us lately. Marcus works construction, but the jobs haven't been steady. We've been trying to have a baby for 3 years now, and each month that passes without good news breaks my heart a little more. I could see the stress wearing on Marcus. He worked longer hours, took weekend jobs, and barely slept. He felt like he was failing me, even though I told him every day that we would get through this together. Then one evening, Marcus came home with a strange excitement in his eyes. "Sarah, David has a business opportunity for us," he said. "Something that could solve all our money problems." My heart jumped. After years of struggle, maybe this was our break. "What kind of business?" I asked. Marcus looked uncomfortable. "It's complicated, but David says it could make us rich." Over the next few days, Marcus became secretive. He would have whispered phone calls with David and would stop talking when I entered the room. Something didn't feel right. Then one Friday night, Marcus surprised me. "I want to do something special for you," he said with a nervous smile. "Trust me, okay?" He brought out a silk blindfold. "It's part of the surprise." I laughed. After all our stress, maybe he was planning something romantic. I trusted my husband completely, so I let him blindfold me. What happened next still haunts me. In the darkness, I felt different hands touching me. At first, I thought Marcus was playing some kind of game. But then I heard whispers, voices that sounded like Marcus, but somehow different. "It's okay," I heard Marcus say. "Just trust me. This is for our future." I was confused and scared, but Marcus kept reassuring me. I didn't understand what was happening, but I trusted the man I loved. Afterwards, Marcus seemed different. Happier but also guilty. He wouldn't look me in the eyes for days. A few weeks later, David left town for a business trip. Marcus said the deal was moving forward and soon our money problems would be over. Then I started feeling sick in the mornings. Tired all the time. Emotional over little things. Could it be? After 3 years of trying? I went to the doctor alone, afraid to hope. But the test was positive. I was pregnant. I ran home to tell Marcus. When I saw him, I couldn't contain my excitement. "Marcus, we're going to have a baby." His face went pale. Instead of joy, I saw fear in his eyes. That's wonderful," he said, but his voice was shaking. For days he was distant. Finally, he sat me down one night. "Sarah, I need to tell you something about that night with the blindfold." My stomach dropped. "David and I? We look exactly alike. We're identical twins," he began. "David needed money for his business, and he said if I let him be with you just once, he would make us both rich." The room started spinning. "What are you saying? That night when you were blindfolded, it was David, not me." I watched from the corner, and I hated myself for it. But I thought it was the only way to give you the life you deserved. I couldn't breathe. My own husband had let his brother, had watched while. "And now," Marcus continued, his voice breaking, "we don't know whose baby this is. Mine or David's." I stared at him in shock. "You want me to get rid of it, don't you? Sarah, please understand." "No." I stood up, my hands protectively covering my belly. "This baby is innocent. This baby is wanted. I don't care whose it is biologically, it's mine." We fought all night. Marcus begged me to think practically. He said David was willing to pay for everything if we just handled the situation quietly. But I refused. This baby had been my dream for 3 years. I wouldn't let Marcus's terrible choice destroy that dream. The next morning, I made my decision. I would keep my baby with or without Marcus. As for which brother is the father, that's a secret that will change everything when the truth finally comes out. 3 months after learning the truth, My world was about to be shaken again. David returned from his business trip with expensive clothes and a brand new car. The deal had apparently made him rich, just like he promised. When he walked into our small apartment, I couldn't even look at him. This man who looked exactly like my husband had violated me in the worst way possible. "Sarah," David said with a big smile, as if nothing had happened. "Congratulations on the pregnancy." Marcus quickly pulled his brother aside. I could hear them whispering in the kitchen, but I caught enough words to understand. David wanted to know if I was taking care of the problem. "She's keeping it," Marcus said quietly. David's voice got angry. "That wasn't the deal, Marcus. This complicates everything." That night, David demanded to talk to me privately. "Sarah, be reasonable," he said. "I'll pay for everything, doctors, hospital bills, whatever you need. But you can't have this baby." "Why?" I asked, even though I knew the answer. "Because if that baby looks like me and Marcus, people will ask questions. My business partners, my new girlfriend, they can't know about this." "Your girlfriend?" I was shocked. "You have someone special in your life, and you still did this to me?" David looked uncomfortable. "That's different. Rebecca doesn't need to know about our arrangement." "Arrangement?" I stood up, fury building inside me. "You mean when you pretended to be my husband and raped me?" "It wasn't rape," David said coldly. "You agreed to it. You just didn't know it was me." I slapped him across the face. Marcus came running when he heard the commotion. For a moment, I thought he would defend me. Instead, he tried to calm both of us down. "Let's all think about this logically," Marcus said. That's when I realized my husband was still choosing his brother over me. I made a decision that night. I packed a small bag and went to stay with my sister Emma across town. I needed space to think and to protect my baby. Emma was furious when I told her everything. "Sarah, you need to call the police," she said. "What David did was a crime." "But I can't prove anything," I replied. "I was blindfolded. And Marcus will never testify against his brother." For 2 weeks, I stayed with Emma. Marcus called every day, begging me to come home. He said David had left town again and wouldn't bother us anymore. But I wasn't ready to forgive. Then something happened that changed everything. I was at a coffee shop near Emma's house when I saw a pregnant woman about my age. She looked upset, crying into her phone. "David, please," she was saying. "You can't just disappear now. I'm 5 months pregnant with your baby." My blood went cold. I walked closer and heard her say, "You promised you'd leave your wife for me." David wasn't married. When she hung up, I approached her carefully. "Excuse me," I said. I couldn't help but overhear. "Are you talking about David Thompson?" She looked surprised. "Yes. Do you know him?" "I'm his sister-in-law," I said, which was technically true. "I'm Sarah." Her name was Rebecca, the same girlfriend David had mentioned. She was beautiful, successful, and completely unaware that David was a liar and a monster. "He told me he was married," she said, wiping her tears, "but that he was getting divorced soon. Now he won't return my calls." I felt sick. David had been living a double life, using women for money and pleasure while caring nothing about the damage he caused. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. "Rebecca, I need to tell you something about David. About who he really is." I told her everything. About the business deal, about what he did to me, about how he wanted me to get rid of my baby to protect his reputation. Rebecca listened in horror. When I finished, she was shaking. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "He seemed so genuine, so different from his brother." "Wait," I said. "You've met Marcus?" David introduced us once. He said Marcus was the irresponsible twin, always causing problems in the family. "But you're married to Marcus." My heart sank. David had been lying to Rebecca about everything, even which brother was which. Rebecca and I decided to work together. She still had keys to David's apartment from when they were dating. We went there to look for evidence of his lies. What we found was worse than either of us imagined. David had a whole wall covered with photos, but not of Rebecca or any other girlfriend. They were surveillance photos of me. Pictures of me going to work, grocery shopping, even some taken through our apartment window. He had been watching me for months before that terrible night. In his desk, we found contracts and bank statements showing he'd made over $2 million from his business deal. But the documents also showed something else. He'd been planning to leave the country. "He's running away," Rebecca said. "He got his money and now he wants to disappear." But we also found something that made my blood run cold. A birth certificate application, already filled out. David was planning to claim my baby as his own. At the bottom of the page in David's handwriting were the words, "Insurance policy, Sarah will have to give me custody if she wants the child to have financial security." He wasn't done with me. He was planning to use my baby to control me for the rest of my life. Rebecca and I called the police that day. We had evidence of stalking, fraud, and conspiracy. But most importantly, we had each other's testimony about David's pattern of manipulation and abuse. When the police arrested David at the airport, he was carrying a one-way ticket to Mexico and a briefcase full of cash. Marcus was shocked when he heard about his brother's arrest. For the first time, he saw David for who he really was. "Sarah, I'm so sorry," Marcus cried when I finally agreed to see him. "I thought I was helping us. I thought David really cared about family." "You chose him over me," I said. "Even after you knew what he did, you still protected him." "I know. I was wrong. Completely wrong. But please, give me a chance to make this right." I looked at my husband, really looked at him. I could see the guilt and pain in his eyes. But I could also see something else, genuine remorse. "Marcus, I need to know something. That night, were you really in the room watching?" He broke down completely. "No. I couldn't do it. I left the apartment and walked around the block for 2 hours. When I came back, David said it was done. I never saw anything, but I knew what had happened, and I hated myself for allowing it." This changed things. Marcus hadn't watched his brother assault me. He had been a coward, but not a voyeur. "There's something else," Marcus continued. "I took a DNA test." My heart stopped. "What?" "David and I aren't identical twins. We're fraternal. Our parents lied to us our whole lives because we looked so similar. But we have different DNA." I started crying, tears of relief and joy. "Which means," Marcus said softly, "we can know for certain whose baby this is." 3 weeks later, we got the results. The baby I was carrying was Marcus's child, my husband's child. David was sentenced to 5 years in prison for stalking, fraud, and sexual assault. Rebecca testified against him, and her courage helped put him away. Marcus and I went to counseling together. It took months of hard work, but slowly, we rebuilt our trust. Our daughter Emma Rose was born healthy and beautiful. She has Marcus's gentle eyes and my stubborn chin. Marcus never speaks to David anymore. We learned that David had been manipulating and using people his whole life, and we were just his latest victims. Rebecca became one of my closest friends. She moved closer to us, and our children will grow up together, her son David, she kept the name to honor her journey, and our daughter Emma Rose. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had made different choices that night. But I've learned that we can't change the past, we can only choose how we respond to it. My family was broken by betrayal, but it was rebuilt with truth, courage, and love. And sometimes, that's the strongest foundation of all. This story shows that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to choose hope over despair, truth over lies, and healing over hatred.